What's love got to do with it? I like the dance. I think the thing that I love most about my job is getting to do stuff without prepping Rabbi Litwack ahead of time and then seeing all the reactions that I get.
That frightens me.
What? No, come on, that's awesome. How you
Um,
doing?
I am doing great. We've had a
You're
little hiatus,
you're
little summer
back.
hiatus.
Where
Well,
were
yeah.
you? Tell us real quick about your travels
Well, I got in, squeezed in a little Israel and a little Northeast, family, friends, and fun.
and
Uh,
Wales.
and whales, yes. Several whales, lots of whales. Yes, all good.
Amazing.
All
Amazing.
good. All right.
And on top of all of that, not only are we back, but we're back to show some love to all of our peeps out there, all of our fellow Jews and learners and seekers and searchers, because we have a very, very special day coming up. Now, Rabbi Litwack has a text all queued up, but before he does that, I thought I would just give a 2-second little shtickle about this day. So the day is called Tu B'Av. Now, what is Tu B'Av? You see the little chukchikis up there at the top there? So those chukchikis mean that that tet and that vav are not really a word. They're just an acronym. So what are they an acronym for? They're an acronym for the letters, not the letters, the numbers 6 and 9. I did that backwards.
You did that backwards.
I did that
You
backwards.
Did it in
The
Hebrew.
tet is 9 and the vav is 6. I apologize. The tet is 9
Well, you're
and the vav
doing
is 6.
one in Hebrew and one in English. So.
Exactly. And then those equal 15. So 2, all that means is 15. And then B'Av means in the month of Av. So Tu B'Av, the day that we're about to celebrate, is coming up. When is it?
Tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight. Won't be just any night.
We're off to a great start here. So Tu B'Av starts tonight, and it is the day of love. The day of love. Rabbi, do you celebrate Tu B'Av?
Particularly, I can't say that I do, and I'm not a big Valentine's Day guy.
Yeah.
Because every day I love my wife, but it does happen that this is particularly fortuitous this year in that in 3 days, Deborah and I will celebrate our 28th wedding anniversary.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
we'll
That's
be
lovely.
moving children into their various spots, but it's okay. So we're going to talk about love.
We're going to talk about love. Absolutely. So let's start with maybe where this comes from. Because,
Sure.
This is a day that neither you nor I really celebrate, which means that 99.999% of Jews don't celebrate and probably don't even know about it.
That's right, which is all the more reason why we should teach about it, because that's really fun. Yes, this is actually both an ancient and a modern holiday. Let's go back in history before we come up to modern day, because there's a big gulf of observance at this point. This was originally a post-biblical holiday, and it served as a matchmaking day for unmarried women in the Second Temple period. So that's before the year 70 CE. Right? And we're going to talk about how that becomes a matchmaking day. But over the centuries, it really wasn't practiced. After the Second Temple was destroyed in 70, really wasn't practiced until there was one little bit that on this particular holiday, we're not supposed to say a section of the service that's particularly sad. So other than that, it wasn't observed until it got resurrected in the modern state of Israel as a Jewish day of love. We'll say slightly resembling Valentine's Day. We don't know exactly when it started. The first mention of it comes in the Mishnah. So this is second century. In Mishnah Ta'anit, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said there were no days as joyous for the Jewish people as the 15th of Av, okay, and as Yom Kippur. Right? Now, we could spend
I was just going to say,
we could spend a whole time talking about why we're fasting on Yom Kippur and suffering,
right.
And yet Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says that there are no days as joyous. We're actually, I will slide that in a little bit later. Okay, so as on them, the daughters of Jerusalem would go out in white clothes. Okay? And what would they do? Well, they would dance in the vineyards. We'll get to that text a little, the continuation in a little bit. But they would dance in the vineyards, and they would connect with possible spouses. Right? So why? Where did this come from? Okay. Well, the Gemara, the later part of the Talmud, what comes and explains the Mishnah, that text that we just read, says that this is a day when we reconnected, we reconciled, we came together. Those are the themes of this Jewish holiday of love. Okay?
Can I interrupt you for just a moment, Rabbi? Because I had actually never thought of this, that the way you just described it helps me understand why there's that linkage between Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur, right? The reconnecting, I don't know, I'd never thought of that before. That
we are joyful on Yom Kippur because we are able to reconnect with God.
Right.
That it is, and that when we're going to talk about love, I think we'll get there. We talk about how do we love other human beings. Well, we model that from the love that we give to God.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And that love is expressed on Yom Kippur as other holidays.
Yeah.
So let's just do a little bit more from a historical standpoint. The Gemara explains this particular date because this is the date, according to tradition, that the biblical tribes of Israel were permitted to marry each other. Okay? That up until this point, you had to stay within your tribes. Okay? But as the destruction of the temple, the spreading out of the Jewish people, and tribal territories became less important, the ability for people to come together from different tribes was allowed. Now, why was it not allowed? There really weren't there was no biblical prohibition against intermarriage among tribes in the Bible anyways, but it seems to be about keeping territory. There's another piece, and that comes out of the book of Judges, where after a civil war between the tribe of Benjamin and the other Israelite tribes, the tribes vowed not to marry with anybody from the tribe of Benjamin, and that gets pushed aside on Tu B'Av in its earliest stages.
It gets pushed aside, meaning they're allowed
meaning
to marry?
That now they're able to, there's no longer a prohibition between Benjaminite people and other tribes.
On Tu B'Av itself, or
no, going forward. We're talking about the origins of Tu B'Av.
Yeah.
That these are all things that were, at least the Gemara tells us,
Wow. I didn't know that.
happened on Tu B'Av. So,
Nice.
so uh, it's a holiday where, at least in the modern state of Israel, there's a lot of singing, there's a lot of dance, there's cultural events, and it is celebrated similarly to America's sense of Valentine's Day. Okay? And so we
It's
thought,
also if I'm it's also a very auspicious day to get married on, in part because we're now in the 3 weeks. So the 3
yeah,
weeks started on the 9th of Av last week on Tisha B'Av, and they go until no, we're not. We're not in the 3 weeks. Sorry, the 3
the
weeks
3 weeks
before Tisha
precede,
B'Av. We're
precede,
in the
but
7 weeks following.
that's
My
correct.
apologies.
Yeah,
But today's Thursday, not Tuesday, because Tuesday is also an auspicious day to get married on. Because the word tov, I think, is in the book of Breshit in Genesis. That right, the third day has the
on
word tov twice.
yes, Keto.
But Tu B'Av is also. I mean, I imagine there are a lot of weddings in Israel on Tu B'Av.
There are.
Yeah.
That is correct. And again, I just want to clarify what Rabbi David said, which is that a few days ago we commemorated Tisha B'Av, the national, the Jewish holiday or commemoration of all the difficult things that happened in Judaism, and that was preceded by 3 weeks of our Haftarah readings telling us all the things that we did wrong, okay? And then we get this holiday right in the middle because now we're going to go into heading into the High Holy Days and thinking about all those things that we did wrong. So it's a little respite right there in the middle when we get to celebrate love. And now I think we should talk about love.
Let's talk
Because
about love.
let's talk about love
What's
because
love got to do with it? So
thank you.
here's the thing. Can I just want to say something about love before you go any farther.
Sure.
I have heard, and I could be wrong about this, but I've heard Judaism and Christianity defined as Judaism is a religion of law and Christianity is a religion of love. And that's always bothered me because love is such an important part of our faith. Emotion, love, passion, for God, for one another, for ourselves. Am I crazy that's the way Christianity has been described?
Yes, because, and I don't generally like to represent other Jewish other
Fair enough.
faith
Yeah.
traditions, but what is it? What makes Christianity Christianity is Jesus's love for the people, or God's love for the people, that God was willing to sacrifice His only Son so that we could find redemption. We could, and so yes. Christianity is, at least in theory, about love. And Judaism is about law in the sense that there are things that we have to do. It's not good enough just to say, I love. Okay? That love is expressed in what we do.
There's a great story that I remember hearing from oh goodness, the rabbi in Riverdale, the Orthodox rabbi in Riverdale. I'm blanking on his name.
Avi Weiss.
I think it was Rabbi Avi Weiss. I think it was. So he told this story. I hope it's in his name. That his father was coming to town, and his father called his son and said, "I need you to pick me up at the airport." And his son said, "Abba, I can't wait for you to come. I'm so excited. I wish I could pick you up at the airport. I'm really swamped. I'm busy. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you." And his father says, "Okay, I know you're busy, but you need to come pick me up at the airport." And his son says, "Abba, I love you, but I can't. I've got this and I've got to prepare." "Son, stop fiddling around and come pick me up at the airport." "I love you. I'm sorry. I can't do it." The father says to the son, do me a favor, stop loving me so much and pick me up at the airport. Right? It's not enough to just love. We have to do.
I'll tell you a similar story. This is, I think, a Hasidic story where the rabbi sees his student eating a chicken, okay, on a plate. Okay? Do you know this story?
No.
Okay. And he says, tell me, young man, do you love chicken? Okay? And the student says, yeah, I love chicken. And you're going to love this story.
As a vegetarian?
He says, if you love chicken, all right, then you would have cared for the one that's on your plate. Okay, you would have fed it. You would have tried to make it happy. You would have made sure that it was safe. Okay, instead you're devouring it. Okay, and as the student is like looking for an answer, the rabbi says, "You didn't really love the chicken. You loved yourself." Okay, and I think that that's a beautiful way in which we can talk about Judaism's understanding of love. Okay? The first thing, if I'm gonna go fishing in Jewish tradition, we're going to start with Genesis 2, where God says it's not good for human beings to be alone. Okay, I'm going to make Adam, or the first human being, a fitting helper for him. Okay? Ezer Kenegdo. Okay? That in the very beginning of our stories in Judaism emphasizes the importance of finding someone to love and holding on to that relationship. Okay, but
Can I jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Because this is one of my absolute favorite verses in
Good.
here, this Ezer Kenegdo, because what it teaches me, so Ezer means helper, or partner, if you will. Kenegdo, neged means against. And so what I have always taken from this is that the best relationships, the best friendships, the best loving partnerships are those in which we are against, in loving ways, one another, in which we push one another to become who we're meant to be. Love does not mean I love everything about you, I don't want you to change at all. Love means I want you to become. And that's, I just wanted to throw that out there. I love it.
Oh, I think, yeah, and I think you hit absolutely on the crux of what Judaism says about love. Okay, I would just do one more text before we get to that, which is, of course, the one from Deuteronomy 6, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. Okay, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, okay, with all your might. Okay? And that when we love, okay, it's not simply with our heart. Okay? It's not even with what's inside of us, but with all of our might. Okay? And the might, the me'odecha, is in tradition seen as action. Okay, what you're doing. So I am going to express my love for God, not simply because I love you, God, and I don't do anything.
Pick me up at the airport.
I feel it up in my right. It's not just that I feel it in my heart or in my mind, right? But I got to follow that up with action. Okay?
And one of the things that fascinates me about the idea of Judaism as a religion of law, and then love as being central also, is there's the tension, or I don't know, it's more than tension, the disconnect between mandating an emotion, right? Between
Right.
obligating someone to feel a certain way. If you think of actors, right?
Yeah.
Actors can cry on command. They can't feel sad on command. You can't say to someone, feel sad. You can say cry, which is an action. And so the fact that here that you're bringing out in this text that really the essence of it is not about feeling. It's about how do we take that and turn it into action.
Absolutely. Okay. That idea, by the way, v'samachta b'chagecha, that you should be joyful on your holiday. How am I
Right.
supposed to be commanded to be joyful? All right. Instead, all right, the things that you do, all right, on the holidays will make you joyful. Okay. So do that. Okay. Pick me
And
up at the airport.
unless you're, if you're a breast lover, then, the second part of that sentence, v'hayita ach sameach, is sort of like, it, in many ways, it's which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Will your actions make you joyful, or will being joyful lead you to joyful actions? And I think that in some parts of the Jewish world, which are very, very beautiful, it's force yourself to be joyful. It's
Yeah.
approach every moment with that mindset, even if
Right.
what you're doing doesn't lead you there.
Right. So let's um, let's talk about how do we love. Okay? How do we love our the other, our Ezer Kenegdo? Okay? And here's where I would go. There's a piece in the Mishnah where it says that a man should honor his wife more than himself, and love her as himself, and that if he's wealthy, that he should honor her with as much as he can afford. That he should treat her in a way that doesn't inspire fear in her. Okay? That you should speak gently to her. That you shouldn't be hot tempered or downcast. Okay? All of those are things that we think about our partner in, when we are acting, when we are expressing our love. It's not about me, but how is what I do going to affect, all right, my
And
partner?
and though, as you were saying that, you got me thinking, because one of the things you said about in that Mishnah about our partners is we should treat her as we would want to be treated, which of course reminded me of the Leviticus quote, right? Love your
Of
neighbor as
course,
yourself.
ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so many
You
of
shall
the
love. Yeah.
teachings about loving others actually
Mm-hmm.
is about us in a strange way. It's not about us, but it's born out of a self reflection, right? So how do I know how am I supposed to know what it means to love my fellow? I'm supposed to reflect on how I want to be loved. How do I know what it means to love the stranger, right? I'm
Is
supposed
to
to
think
remember my
about.
own experience as a stranger. And so there's this really interesting dynamic that you've just brought to me, which is that loving another, it sounds very Buber, the sort of the the it, thou, it, right?
I
That
I thou.
I, thou, sorry, that
Yeah.
real love, well, right, the thou, it are the two objects. Real love
Yeah.
is when I see you as a thou, which is not separate from me. It's an extension of me. And I do for you because I do for you. And at the same time, I do for you because you are me. I don't know. There's this
Right.
interesting
So
dynamic there.
okay, so let's look at, there's a piece out of Pirkei Avot, chapter 5, that says that all love that's dependent on something, okay, when that thing ceases, then the love ceases. Okay, and when love is not dependent on a particular thing, then that love will not cease. Okay, and we think about, they give you literally two examples. Okay, the love that's dependent on a thing is the love between Amnon and Tamar. Okay, well, who are Amnon and Tamar? Amnon and Tamar are half siblings. They're the children of King David from different wives. Okay? Amnon is infatuated with his half sister, and he feigns sickness. Okay? And then he lures her into his chamber where she feeds him, and then he proceeds to rape her. Okay? Right? That this love is dependent on his physical desire of her beauty. Okay. Now, if we look at that text, the love that's not dependent on something is the love of David and Jonathan. Okay, which is some people might say that this is something homosexual. I think that it is about the deep friendship between two friends, the deep love between two friends, and that they were willing to give of each other and help each other out in difficult times, to be supportive of each other in difficult times. That's love, right? When you are willing to give. I want to finish with with a conclusion of this Mishnah Ta'anit text. Okay, so the text continues, okay, with two crucial things. Okay, the first thing is, it says that the women were supposed to go out in white garments. Okay, well, what do we know about those white garments? Is that they are to be borrowed from another person. Everybody,
Right.
Okay, everybody has to borrow a garment from another person. It's not trading. You can, I've got 5 white garments. I can give them out to five friends, but I can't wear one of those 5. I have to go find a garment. Okay, why? Okay, so that somebody who doesn't own a white garment wouldn't be embarrassed because they have to wear something. Okay, this is my daughter may throw me under the bus for this one, or I may be throwing. Okay, she's getting ready for sorority rush. Okay, and they have certain things that they're supposed to wear. Okay, and I think it's silly. Okay, on the other hand, I think that there's something about how do you kind of common denominator everybody, and that is to wear the same thing.
It's like a school uniform or something like that.
Right.
Right.
Even better.
But this is I mean, this is so much more beautiful than that, because it's not that everyone's wearing the same thing. It's that everyone is wearing from someone else. There's also a community aspect to this.
Correct. Correct.
And of course, the white brings us all the way back to the beginning when we were asking about, this and Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And now, even more important is the second half of this. Okay, what do the daughters of Jerusalem do? They go out and they dance in the vineyards, all right, which I'm totally good with. Okay, and what would they say? Okay, now think about historically that it's supposed to be the guy who asks out the girl. It's the guy who's supposed to come and make the first move. In this case, no, what is it? The women are supposed to say, young man, please lift up your eyes, which is not simply, this, but see something different. What do you choose? What characteristic are you going to use to find a wife? Do not set your eyes toward beauty, but set your eyes towards a good family. Okay? That it's not about physical beauty. It's not about status. it's about values. Find somebody who has a good family. Yichus, not because they have a lot of money, okay, but yichus because when you see somebody who has been comes from a stable family where parents have taught their children, okay, how to treat each other, that this is going to be a potentially good indicator of somebody who is going to be a good spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think that there's just something amazing about the difference between lust and love when it comes to Judaism. That Tu B'Av is the response to the hookup culture, right? That Tu B'Av is about perseverance in love and re-engagement, reconnecting. Right? Think about the Benjamin tribe that's gotten kind of set aside, coming back together, and that's what love is about. You're going to fight. Every couple fights. Okay? But how do we do that in a way that we're thinking about the other person, right, and how they're going to, what they're going to need and what they are thinking, versus simply getting what I want.
Right. Having conversations where the word I isn't at the beginning of every sentence that you're saying. You know, right. I this, I that. And going back again to what you were teaching earlier, that love isn't, thoughts and prayers. Love is action. Right. Love is real. It is palpable. It is expressed through word and through deed. And in that ways, we really are a faith of both love and law. Because you cannot have true love without the action that comes through law. So,
correct.
I love you, Rabbi Litwack.
Right back at you, Rabbi David. Thank you.
Are you on the Bima alone this Shabbos, or is Cantor Norman back?
I am alone.
Oh my gosh! But you have the musicians there, yes?
I do. Thank goodness.
Beautiful. Yes. Good. And
Marcelo and Juvenal will make me sound just a little
you sound
bit better.
Beautiful on your own. Don't even think about it.
Thank you.
So now that we're back, friends, we're going to be coming back every couple of weeks. The 2nd and 4th, I think we decided on.
I do believe so.
Is that right? Yeah. Right. So we will see you all in a couple of weeks. And on Shabbos, we hope. And on Shabbos. Bye, everybody. See you later.
All right, brother.